All right. Hello, we're here for chapter 2 of the Digital Marketing Essentials courseware. And today I'm going to take a little different approach than what I usually do. I usually do the slides. Today I'm going to go both back and forth between the slides and the actual textbook pages. So I'm going to see what I can do. It's not going to be the prettiest back and forth, but we'll see what we can do. Um, start, we are really looking at web page design. What constitutes a good website? And there's a lot of different answers to that. Really, there's a couple different schools of thought on what constitutes a good looking website. What is good design? Sometimes that's considered more of a subjective point. But in the business world, we're kind of looking at it from a point of, okay, what's going to be most effective for the brand? And there's 5 different frameworks that we're going to look at here. There will be elements of all of them throughout the course and in the exams. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Um, First is pretty straightforward, right? Designing for usability. That is pretty obvious, I would say. You're designing your website for function, and pretty pretty clearly, there's about 6 different things to do. One, follow the general website conventions. So that is menu at the top, logo towards the top that's clickable to the homepage. But at the same time, you want to be able to have visual hierarchies so that you can follow the elements of a page, which we're going to look at separately, along with clearly defined areas, making hyperlinks that are blue or a different color, getting rid of the really distracting stuff. And really the way that people are consuming content now is by scanning. They're not reading every single word meticulously. It is done quickly, scanning. You need to be able to share what it is that you want to get out there in about 10 seconds. That's about how long as people will really engage with any given page. Now, when you look at a homepage of a website, any website, if you were to look at any site that you feel like pulling up right now, I'd say about 90 to 95% of them have some sort of menu at the top or on the side. They have the logo for whatever the company or brand is, either top left or top right or top center. And for more and more, you're starting to see multiple menus. So in this Michaels category, you have the main menu, shop categories, lowest prices. But then even higher, you see these other things. There's the coupons, the ads, the projects, Michaels, Maker Place, custom framing. So there's a lot of different things going on, and these are for the larger websites that have like hundreds, thousands of pages. But 20 years ago, this was not the case. It was one menu. They wanted to keep it clean. Now there are so many different subgroups that websites have to cater to, especially these larger businesses, that you see the world of website conventions has really expanded into something more. It's no longer just menu, navigation, banner image with logo. It can be several things depending on what the website is trying to do and who the audience is. One of the topics that we'll continuously come back to throughout the course is defining the audience and creating whatever it is that you're doing online for your audience. If you're not creating it for your audience, who is it for? That's kind of the question that I go back to. But you'll also see things got to be clickable. It's got to be obvious. And when we say support scanning, something that's scannable, that means the use of headlines, the use of different font sizes, and the idea that the most important things are going to be the largest fonts. Now, there's also the idea of the mobile design, which also needs to support scanning because that's where people are going to scan even more. If you think about how quickly you can scroll with your finger on a mobile device, that's a lot faster than if you are on a computer, laptop, desktop, what have you, and you're using just a mouse with the scroll wheel. You're going to be a lot more likely to stop and read on a desktop than you are on a mobile device, which is kind of a two-sided sword here because mobile device there's a lot less space. You don't have as much space across horizontally, but you do have more space vertically. People expect more scrolling to happen. And if you think about social networks, people have gotten very used to kind of endless scrolling. Google even tried the doom scroll, the endless scroll with search results, and then they reeled that back. Recently, I think that was in an effort to get more space for advertising and AI results instead. Now, the other element here, or I guess just move on to the second section, is there's also conversion center design, and that is similar to designing for usability, but you're creating a website and designing it so that it is focused on what you want people to do. And I mean, that's the general overarching statement on that. There are these terms that go into it, into what you should be doing to help push that. I won't go into definition for all these things, but just know conversion centered design is all about focusing on the goal at hand. And if you look at the Dropbox example here, right, the goal is to sign people up. The goal is to get people to use the service. And what better way to do that than to get that form, to get that sign up bar right up at the top. Not a lot of websites do this. It's something that it was a little unconventional when Dropbox first did this many years ago. But now it's becoming a little bit more standard. And we don't think about this with social networks because we're always just automatically logged in and we're using the apps. But at the same time, a lot of these social networks will use this. If you log into any social media site in incognito mode or private mode, whatever browser you use, you'll see that the first thing that they have on a homepage when you're not logged in is to get you to sign up. The other thing, you're looking at a mobile page, like this is the mobile version of the Dropbox page. Now, the third type of design is the 3 questions. I'm not really, it's a little bit more confused. Well, it's not confusing, but I don't really see, the clear path forward on this, but this has always been part of this. And that is, when you're designing a website, you want to set out to answer these 3 questions for the visitor. What are you offering? Why should I pick you? And what do you want me to do next? And that just equates to 3 things. One is the value proposition, clearly defining the advantages, the why, but then finally also having a call to action. And that's that third point. When you're looking at something like this Doba, this drop shipping site, it's very clear. It's not the most usable example. They're not designed for usability, that's for sure. But they answer these questions. What are they offering? Clearly simple drop shipping. Why? That's right here, and there's all of these reasons down here, but then what do you want me to do next? Try free for 30 days. No credit card required. Same thing in mobile. Next up, we have segments. This is kind of breaking down a website into a couple, for lack of a better term, segments. And that is looking at each type of function that the website is doing. And that's, it's got a lot of different dimensions, but really the idea is, hey, the conversion needs to appeal to different people. And what does this mean? It means, hey, first we have searching versus category navigation. So are people just going to search when they're on your website, or are they going to jump around through different categories of an e-commerce platform? If you were to look at an example like Best Buy, what's the first thing that you're doing here? Are you going to search, or are you going to navigate through all these different topics? Best Buy is trying to appeal to all the above. They talk about their audience, they've defined their audience, and they've probably done a lot of usability testing over the years to see, hey, we get a lot of people that search, but we also get people that want to browse and find something new. Finding a tablet like this is probably not something you're going to search for. You see this a lot with companies that have a big existing user base, where returning users, there might be they're going to be looking for something different. If you're new to a website, your first time, you're going to look around, you're looking for, okay, what am I looking like? Tell me about this business. What are they off? Kind of like the 3 questions. What should I do next? But if you're returning, you know where you are, you know what you're looking for. You've got a habit in terms of of navigating a website. And a company needs to make those determinations. Which segments am I appealing to most broadly? Of the five different frameworks here, this is probably discussed in detail the least amount of detail moving forward, but it is something interesting to think about in terms of who this is for, like I mentioned earlier. Finally, we have the mobile first. A lot of people subscribe to this idea that, hey, when you're designing a website now, you need to design for mobile first, and then for desktop. And I'll be honest, most companies don't actually do this. The idea of designing for mobile first means to start small. Start on a mobile device and then expand the offerings, expand the elements on the page from there. They call that progressive enhancement now. It's hard to, I mean, you can tell the websites that are designed for mobile first if you're on mobile and you see that the most important stuff is there. The most important mission critical elements are there on mobile. And then as you expand, you see it's more, I don't want to call it fluff, but for lack of a better term, it is kind of fluff. It's more fun. It's content, it's material that is just kind of, it's there to provide a better value proposition, a better experience for people on desktop. It can be pretty difficult to identify this, I will say, if you haven't done it in the past and it's not something that you're used to doing. But you can look at the example here with the outlet here. Now, I'm gonna just keep jumping through this. Now we have conversion rate optimization. This is something that I wasn't gonna go too far into here, but I will discuss it really quick. Conversion rate optimization, in short, is doing A/B testing. A/B testing is when you have two versions of something. You have your A, which is shown to, I don't know, 80 to 90% of your audience, and then B, which is shown to a small sample. Based on how that goes, you can determine a winner, I guess you would say. Now that is, A/B testing officially is supposed to be 50-50 in terms of, hey, how about this? But then how about this? But more and more, A/B testing has become something where there is an existing web page. So here on Grip 6, right? This is the default page. And then maybe what they do is they want to test a new version. They're not going to throw a new version out to half of their audience because they bring in hundreds of thousands of people. They're going to test it with a small subset, and depending on the actions that they take and the various analytics that will be explained in the next chapter, if they buy more stuff or put more things in the cart, whatever the conversion is, they could then expand that to a larger group of the audience. Now, if you're launching a website for the first time or a new page for the first time, then conversion rate optimization could be half and half. And in that case, you want to have a difference of one element on your web page. One element. So here we have, okay, this is version B, this is version A. What is the difference? What's the difference between the two images, right? It's just that little subscription box in the corner. If nobody fills that out, then it's clear, okay, this is not helping. If it is, and people are filling it out, then Grip 6 will know we should put this on here for everybody. But then how do you know that it's a W, that's a win? Oh, there's version 3. Sorry, I forgot that. What if they put it a little bit more in the middle, right? Interesting. There's a lot of different ways to do this. You can do this. This is a version, I believe this is through Google, but or through another platform. But you can do this through your content management system or through various plugins. We're not going to go through that. And there are A/B test results. It's essentially, hey, what version is going to yield the most conversions or at least the highest conversion rate? Right here, the original had 60,000 people, 4% conversion rate. The second variable had 7,000 people, small percentage, 5% conversion rate. Great. Third one had 33,000 people, 4%. Yeah, you can see small, not the same. It's not apples to apples in terms of visitors, but it is apples to apples when you boil it down to conversion rate. What percentage of people converted, filled out that subscription form? Now, I'm gonna hop over here because I want to talk a little bit about page elements before we get much further. But that's kind of the idea of A/B testing. Again, you change one thing, one element, A/B testing, multivariate, whatever they want to call it. You change one element on the page and then test that by delivering it to a subset of your audience. Here, it's not there, right? Version 2, it's there. It's right here. Version 1, it's on the left, right? Version 2, it's gone. Version 3, it's to the right, right? Three different versions. Whichever one yields the highest conversion rate is the winner. If you were to change everything, that is not a good A/B test because one, you don't know what it is that's causing people to convert at a higher or lower rate. Two, um, you don't actually know, like you don't you're it's difficult to tell like if you were to go in later and then change, more elements, what exactly is going to be the result? There's too many questions, and it's what we call, confounding variables, I guess, for lack of a better term, if you probably took that in an earlier course. But again, one element needs to be changed in A/B testing, just one. All right, let's go back to the textbook here. We're going to reshare. Let's go to that. All right. So here we are, page elements, right? Those are the principles of good web design and a little bit on A/B testing. Let's go to the page elements. There are several sections of pages to know. One, we have navigation. That's this thing here, the menu, right? We all know what that is. More and more websites now are going to the hamburger menu, which is a mobile menu where you see the three horizontal lines at the top. On both desktop and mobile. That's cool, whatever. Kind of like that guy right there for Best Buy. And it's hard to tell because you can see there's a menu up here, and there's a menu up here, and there's a menu over here, and then there's these things over here. So it can get a little confusing. There's a lot of content there all at once. Two, the hero image. I call it the banner image. That's just kind of what this is here for Apple. For Best Buy, the hero image is kind of what draws your attention. I guess that's this. Um, e-commerce sites do this where they put a lot of images right there because they want to draw your attention to a lot of different things. Obviously, this is the hero, but these are sidekicks, I guess you could say. Trust symbols. You don't really need to know much about this. It's really just what is it that how can you build trust? A lot of times it's like, hey, we're trusted by 500 companies, and there's like all these big company logos. That's kind of something. One, page elements is the color scheme. That's really just the colors of the brand. So here, Nikon, I haven't had to say that name in years. Yellow and black. That's it, right? That's it. That is the essence of that banner image. And hey, that it maintains the brand, it maintains the feel. You know you're on their website. If that logo is yellow and black, but then this was, I don't know, orange and purple, you're probably going to get a little confused and you're not going to fully understand, where you are. You're even on the same website. Then we have buttons. That's this yellow start button here. And then if you go any higher, let's go back to Best Buy. Really aren't any buttons here on Best Buy now that I'm looking at it. This is text. These are not buttons. This is text. This is just linked text, right? Buttons have a background and they're much more clickable. With text, all you can do is really click on the words. Whereas with a button, it's a little bit larger, it's a little bit louder, and it really draws attention to itself. That's the main difference. Then you have your basic pieces of content, images, videos, forms. Good practices for form optimization. I'm a big fan of optimizing forms because a lot of times there seems to be one thing that will stop people from wanting to fill out a form. And that when I say one thing, I mean a required field. Usually with a form, there's certain fields that are required. Obviously, your email address is going to be required, probably your name, maybe whatever, like answering a question specific to the site, like what are you interested in? Like things like that. The one thing that is often the um, detrimental thing is the phone number. So, it's interesting because in this section, they talk about lead generation website. Um, sorry, that's not even for the form. The lead generation websites have phone numbers here in terms of like contacting the company. But in reality, if you think about the form, that's what you don't want. The big thing, the deal breaker for people when they fill out a form is the phone number. They don't want to have to give their phone number. They don't want the calls. For whatever reason, they're happy giving an email address. They're happy giving sometimes even a physical address. They don't want to give a phone number. So as long as you either remove the phone number or make it not required, you should be okay. However, that's a big part of it. Now I say that because hey, you don't want to have anything more than necessary. You really, if you have all this extra information, like a lot of companies put full address, right? What's your mailing address? That is unnecessary, and it's not something that people want to spend time filling out. Even with these auto-populating form fields that a lot of browsers offer now, people don't want to do that. People don't want to leave that. You want to make the form as concise and easy as humanly possible. You want people to fill out that form in 10 seconds, submit it, and be done. Then you have their information. You can reach out to them and follow up through your lead generation process. Now, the one other thing I will note here that I really like is making sure that you have a call to action that makes people want to fill out the form. In the content marketing book, there is a whole section of the email marketing chapter about this, about what are the best pop-ups? What have been the most successful pop-up ads, not ads, pop-up forms where people are asked to submit their information. And what we have found, or not we, but what the company found and what I included is that you want it to be something about them. You want people to fill out something that they want to be a part of. If you say subscribe to our email list, that's not going to fly. Nobody wants to subscribe to an email list. However, if you say stay up to date on the latest social media marketing trends, that's a little bit better. Okay, now I'm not subscribing to an email list. I am going to stay up to date. Or if you wanted to take it even a step further, some companies have kind of like done the reverse where it's like, don't miss out on, let's see, like on the best revenue generating secrets to email marketing. Right. So that's like going even a step further where it's like, okay, now I need to be a part of this. It's not even incentivizing, it's showing scarcity. It's like, hey, you don't want to miss this. Fill out the form, suddenly, okay, you got them again. That's kind of the method that I've taken is I don't want to I'm not telling people, I don't want people to subscribe to an email list. I want people to opt in to something that they want to be a part of. When people subscribe to an email list, the first thing they're going to want to do is unsubscribe from that email list. If you, on the other hand, are going to be optimizing a form and you want people to actually open your emails, read them, and engage with them, and eventually become a customer, you need to start off on the right foot and you need to put something that makes them want to be a part of it actively. All right, last piece. We're going to go through this pretty quick. The landing page. That is just a couple of things on this section. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. One, the landing page, by definition, it's the first thing that someone sees on a site. A homepage isn't technically a landing page, it's a homepage. A landing page would be, say, the main page for a campaign that you're running. Say that, let's say that you have an event coming up and you're trying to get people to come to your event, and your event, you work for Wayne State. Wayne State would create a landing page that lives on the Wayne State website, And that is the link that they would send to people where they'd go register, see the agenda, see, what all they can do and how to get involved, things like that. It makes it easier for the person to quickly and easily see everything that they need, have the call to action right then and there, and just be done. Make it a quick visit. Um, Landing pages designs, they're just supposed to be pretty easy. They're pretty simple. I'm not going to go through all of this, but this isn't really a landing page. Really, something like this is more of a landing page. So by default, landing pages are not supposed to have they're not supposed to look like the homepage. They're supposed to look different. They're supposed to really focus on what it is that you're trying to communicate and get through. In this rescue router example, this is what they have. The form is right there. That's what they want. They want you to see the drain cleaning special. That's their phone number. This is the 3 questions part, like why you should trust them, what it is that you offer. It's all right there. And if you think of a landing, the most successful landing page is the one that converts at a high rate. If the conversion is to get people to fill this out, great, you're in great shape. If the conversion, on the other hand, is just to get people to call you, great, it's right there too. That's how you do it. Again, I'm not going to go through these other things. Although this one is pretty interesting. This is an interesting landing page here because it's, again, no menu. There's the form. It's very obvious. There's a very clear thing that catches your attention. There's a video. That's all that they're really doing. So that's about it. Anyways, in conclusion, let's wrap this up. The best web pages and the best landing pages are all about facilitating a behavior that the creator of the page or the brand wants out of the user. People come to your website for a reason, and you want to capitalize on that. You want to get their information, or you want them to take an action that you want. Not everybody's going to do it. As we'll see in chapter 3 on analytics, conversion rates are low, usually between 0 and 5%. But that's okay. A visit, you'll get a lot of visits from time to time. A lot of times they're accidental visits. People don't mean to be there. But as long as you can capture your target audience to take the action that you want, then your web page or your website is doing its job. That is all for today. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to talk about any of this and more.